people would not know anything else about you. They would think, Jeremy is just a skeptic, maybe even a debunker. But you've had a lifetime of high-strangeness experiences.
I saw a UFO when I was in 8th grade with my mom and sister. It was really a spectacular toy. I mean, it looked like a giant toy. It was self-luminescent green, round, oval-shaped maybe, porthole windows running down the center, red and blue blinking lights, top half spinning this way, bottom half spinning the other way. I'm lying next to my girlfriend at the time on a mattress on a floor in Queens. Don't ask me why. Poverty, I don't know. And it's the middle of the night, and bright light is streaming in through the window, which doesn't make sense. And to my right, standing above me, are these, pretty much everything you've ever seen on TV. They're small people, giant eyes, diminutive features otherwise, wearing brown tunics, gray-skinned to the blue hue, not to the white. And they're just standing there. And if I had to guess at what they were emoting at me, it was like a childlike naivete, like, come with us.
What is it? What is the so-called alien abduction experience, between quotes?
What is it about? You got me. It's easier to say what it's not about, because it's not about what has been promoted, little doctors, doing evil things, hybrid experiments and all that stuff. We want to discover what the phenomena is before we want to ask what we are. And I think that is integral to understanding the phenomena, is getting what a human being is first. Because I don't think we're ready to ask the question, what is this experience about? And I think this question is trying to lead us into ourselves being able to ask that.
I want to quote a segment from your book. Here's Jeremy's book, Urgency. When truth touches a brain that is blocking it out, the interaction forms archetypal humanoid characters. The marriage between you and truth as a separate thing you intuit is the circumstance in which thought-form offspring are conceived. Haha. So are the alien archetypes?
Good question. There is something in us, which is us, saying you need to come out of the cocoon and be the butterfly, and that's the archetype. Because we've said we don't want to chew our way through. We want to set up HD TVs, and we want to stay here. We want to do this for as long as possible. But our, this other nature of us begs us to come out.
Would it be correct to say that, in your view, that there is a core of objectivity to the experience, but we dress it up with something that we make up ourselves? We give it some kind of form that comes from ourselves.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. I mean, how do you perceive the unknowable?
The entities in the high-strangeness experiences, they have a point of view of their own. There is something it is like to be them, you think?
Yeah, I think that's true, but I think, like your analogy, I think everything is the same set of systems within systems, and from the ultimate point of view of spirit, or whatever, the oneness that we are, then aren't we the dream? And then aren't these alien entities also the dream characters that reflect spirit, that are spirit? Dreaming, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah. In your book, in Urgency, you have the modest goal of answering every significant question ever asked by any human being on the face of the earth.
Hey, if you can, right? I've got the
time. It's a fascinating book. What gave you the inspiration or the insight to those answers, to everything you wrote in that book? Were high-strangeness experiences as well, right? But not alien abduction experiences, between quotes. They were more like what maybe people in the East would call an enlightenment experience.
It's hard to put this into language because I don't want to say a higher self was giving me epiphanies or whatever. I think that higher self nonsense is part of the split. We do that. That is you. It's just you're in denial that it's you, like a schizophrenic or like a multiple personality disorder. It's like you're in denial that that's you. But whatever that other thing that I put out there as me gave me this flood of insights. And you just keep breaking something down and breaking it down, not saying what the answer is, just constantly questioning and breaking it down. And then you realize at the end of it, there is no answer. At the end of it, just the emotional attachment to the problem dissolves, because you realize, it just is. It's when you stop doing, being becomes you, because again, language becomes the problem, because you want to say, well, you want to stop doing and you want to be, but you don't want to be, because that's you doing something to be. You just want to stop. You just want to see the importance of not doing anything. And I think that the reason that this is so difficult isn't just that how we live is antithetical to that, but that to do that is to acknowledge that you and I, projecting outwardly here, are constructs of the brain. And really, we don't want to do that. Even the people who say that we are that don't want to do that. Because that what happens when that stops? That's death. Essentially, what I'm prescribing for humanity is death while you're alive, while the body remains alive.
You can still say it is real, but it's real in a way that is not literal. It's real in a way that is not what it seems to be at first glance.
Yeah,
it's
I don't
like
think there is any face value to any of this. I think the face value is a facade, for sure. And I think that's why that gets back to the original thing of, why are you upset with the disclosure movement and all of that? Because they're interested in the facade.
You mean everything's a metaphor? It's real as a carrier of meaning, but not literally real.
I think there can be a few different meanings to that. I mean, one is, just as we were talking about before, everything is real to us, but from the pulled out perspective of spirit, maybe we're the dream. But it's also true, consensus reality is how we live our lives. We do have to get up and pay taxes and all of that, which I'll eventually do, IRS. I think everything is a metaphor within a metaphor. I think that when you look at, systems in physics, when you look at as above, so below, when you see things reflected here on Earth that happen in space, or you see systems that happen at the microscopic level that mirror us, or in nature that we mirror, you start to see that, everything is a certain set of systems within systems within systems, and I think that's the same way of saying metaphor. You're saying that we need more metaphorical language.
More modern metaphors.
Modern metaphors. So do you think that we have become too by the book, too cut and dry? We need an explanation. We need to be held by the hand.
I am with you that the moment you bring truth to time and you put language around it, you kill it.
But you still need to communicate that point, right? I mean,
that's the thing.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we are a culture. We are a society, and societies and cultures, they live through communication, right? Through language. So my thinking was that although I acknowledge that you can never dress truth with words in a way that does justice to it, we might try our best to come up with a less bad cultural narrative, a less bad worldview.
We do need to communicate this, and you can only communicate on someone's level, and our level is words, and logic at this point is a big one. So we need to use those tools to communicate, to get out of that, but I think that it might be a mistake to say that that's all there's ever going to be. Because I think then you're consigning yourself to staying there.
People need the story. People need a story. They will not accept a vacuum of stories. They will suck something else that is more reasonable, makes more sense to them. So, I
guess I'm not concerned with that. I'm concerned with how do we get out of that mode. That I guess that's how I think, is like, you're right. That is right. Now, how do we not be that species anymore? Because I've tasted the beyond. I know it's there. So how do we get there?
Wouldn't this imply the end of culture? Because culture is a set of narratives.
Yes, that is correct.
Can we operate as a society without the narratives that give us context?
Let's get there and find out. I mean, who knows? Again, these are the scary questions that you've got to take the plunge and find out.